Recording in progress.
I'll introduce you. Hey, Ryan, you need to sit in this chair. Honestly, it's amazing. Tennessee has like two or three guys on each side of the ball that can play Missouri. Okay, there you go. In your pocket. We don't have one sitting out guy in the whole roster. You'll need them later. Just in case you forgot who you are. Bring on the basketball. Let's get some basketball. So what during the tournament, we don't put track on it. Like we do in games. The great thing about it is the video rules. We're able to change these teams advance.
How long you been covering that team now?
It's a history. And when that building went through its 90 million dollar renovation in the summer of 19, this was one of the technology that was there. So you don't need to spend that money for corporate partner, a backdrop anymore. So we're photoshopping to read a rocket. So I'm not going to just go through and say, Harry, am I? Colton. Well, on behalf of Commissioner Jeff Jackson and the entire St. Louis-based Missouri Valley Conference staff, welcome to the Gateway City. Very grateful that we get to conduct our men's basketball tip-off here in Enterprise Center, home of Arch Madness. This will be the first of 12 interview sessions today. It will go this way. We'll introduce everybody at the stage. We'll start with an opening comment by the head coach. We do have a microphone holder, Colton Petcher. We do have a Zoom audience also, so we will bring the mic to you when you have a question. Please speak into the microphone so those that are on Zoom have the benefit of hearing the question when it is asked. Don't want to jump the gun too much here, but so we're joined by the Bradley Braves, 22-23 regular season champion in the Missouri Valley Conference, an NIT participant. We are joined by Duke Dean, third team preseason all-conference, Malavi Leones, first team preseason all-conference, and Connor Hickman on the far end. In the middle, we have head coach Brian Wardle, coach of the year in 2023. And Coach Wardle, sir, if you would please make an opening comment.
Well, we're excited to be here. I always think when Missouri Valley Media Day and happens, we're getting nearer and closer to tip-off of the regular season, and it's going fast. It's been a fast off season, summer and fall. We're about 12 practices in right now, and we're really excited about the opportunity we have ahead of us. We got a great challenge with the competition we're playing in our non-conference. And, I think we're taking it kind of one day at a time, trying to stack days, as we say, and 1 week at a time. But this team is slowly improving. We're getting better each week. We're a talented group. We have a lot of good pieces. Obviously got 3 veterans up here that know how to win and know the system and know our culture and are the leaders of the program. So I'm very blessed and fortunate to have these 3 men here with me. But I'm excited about this team. This is a challenge because we got about 6 newcomers. And so we're trying to blend those guys in with the veterans that we returned from last year's team. And you can kind of see us clicking some days, having some off days here and there. But as we continue to grow and as we continue to get better, I do think there's a big upside with this group. And I think we're just scratching the surface right now in October. So like I said, to open up this day is exciting for us because we know we're getting closer. And we know we're getting closer to competition. And I know these guys that's exciting for players because they're tired of practicing probably already. So they're ready to play some people.
Questions from here in St. Louis? Right here on the end.
This is for Brian and the players. Like, being back in this building, what's that like? I mean, Brian, you've had great success in this building and some crushing losses in this building. This is different than the Missouri Athletic Club or anything like that? Like, being in this building, being up here, the last time you were up here was after the title game. Just what's it like walking back into this building today?
Bad feelings. I mean, that's how I am. Right when I walked in, I mean, I could sense with these 3 too. It bothered me, the last time I was in this building, how we performed, and kind of, watching it back and still watched that game about 2 weeks ago, actually. Just ran out of gas, and we didn't execute, and we looked tired. And a good lesson for us is we got to sustain that energy, that excitement through a whole Valley season. Hard to win the regular season, hard to win Arch Madness. We know that. I've known that. But it's something I think that can be done, but you got to have the right mindset during that week off. And we learned a lot about that week. I did too as a coach, and I think hopefully we'll be back in the position to compete at a high level in this building because tournament here is wonderful. Arch Madness is a great tournament. I say it every year. The excitement, the fans, it's exciting. But walking in this building, yeah, not great feelings today.
Should have one of the players take this too. Malavi, could you please take this one?
I think I'm about the same like Coach. Just last time we were here wasn't the greatest feeling, and just being here brings back all those memories and kind of aggravates me and just reminds me of what we're doing for this year.
Okay, we have a question via Zoom.
Good morning, John Teitel from Hoops HD. My question for Malavi. Last year, you were the first player in conference history with 50 blocks and 50 steals in the same season. How are you able to be such a great defender, and is there another level you think you can bring it to this year?
Yeah, so I think I'm a good defender because our system allows it. I feel like we defend as a team, and in that system, I come together pretty well. And this year, I'm just trying to do my best again, and hopefully I can be a better defender than I was last year.
We have a question here from St. Louis.
Brian, obviously, I know you've been, at Bradley for a while. Started your first season, started 5-27, and obviously, grown into, winning a tournament, going to, winning the, regular season. How have you kind of seen yourself grow as a coach since you got to Bradley, and how have you kind of, I guess, seen that, translate into the success you've had?
That's a great question. I've been humbled so many times in my career, and I always say that. I mean, it's a coaching line, but if you coach, you're going to be humbled, or you're about to be. And this league will humble you. It's a very well coached league. It's a very tough physical league, and it's just really good basketball and some really good programs. And a lot of the schools have really not good resources and support their teams, and so the competition level is high every time you go in. But as a coach, just evolving, learning, growing. I'm 44 years old. I've been blessed to be a head coach for quite a long time, and I've learned a lot. I have really good staff around me. I got, having player leadership, I think, is critical to having success as a coach. And, there's not two better leaders than Duke Dean and Hickman. I mean, they were our leaders last year, and Malavai, but these two are our vocal leaders and lead us every day. So to have that as a coach, it helps a lot. So just little things like that, understanding what's important, having a leader, having those energy guys, letting your players hold each other accountable, how you structure practice, your efficiency in practice. I mean, I could go on and on about the things I've learned and continue to grow, but bottom line is you got to have an identity, and you got to have a program and players that understand the identity and the vision and want to execute that with you.
And then really for any of the players up there, can you just talk about, your time in the program and how you guys have kind of seen it grow since you guys have been, together?
Why don't we do it this way? We'll start with Connor, and then we'll have Duke take this one also.
I would say in my first year, as far as like being a part of the team, I didn't think we were a very connected group and there wasn't a lot of leadership either. And then as my second year, the coaches started pushing leadership more and the importance of being a connected group. And obviously that had a great success, and I think that's something we're trying to replicate this year is really pushing leadership, really pushing listening to each other, trying to communicate better so we don't let others down and try to help them be successful. So I think throughout my 3 years, I think the coaches have done a great job of really stressing the importance of being a connected group and having leaders who others can listen to. So.
With the last year being my first year, I just tried to come in and just buy into the system. And Coach wanted me to take on more of a leadership role because I am very vocal, as we all may know. I talk a lot. So it was just easy for me to come in and just gel with the guys and be able to lead them and get them to trust me as a leader. So this year, I feel like I've taken a further step of being a leader on and off the court and keeping a level head. So I feel like that's very important.
This one's for Duke. Duke, Hunter Tickle, Tribune Star in Terre Haute. What can you tell me about, like you said, going through this second time now here in the Valley? You're out here in St. Louis, ahead of the season. Obviously, the preseason poll gets announced with the teams, and then you got the first, second, and third team gets announced as well. You made third team, but what can you tell me about kind of what this looks and kind of what you're seeing in terms of just preseason expectations and maybe some of your approach to playing the league again?
I feel like it's honestly my mindset hasn't just go out there, work hard, do what I do best, and I've learned a lot from last year being in the Valley. It's a very different league, a very well-coached league, very disciplined league from what I'm used to. So you have to execute every night. You can't take any nights off. So you have to be locked in mentally throughout the whole year. You can't take any breaks. So I feel like that's Coach Waters expressed that a lot. So I feel like I've taken a bigger step in my game with that, being locked in every day. So yeah.
Coach, you said that you went back and watched the championship game. Is that a form of torture for yourself? Is that something that you go through pretty often? It seems like the guys are also a little bit motivated. Is that something you've been preaching throughout the off season as well?
Everyone gets motivated differently. You hear the phrase now, I take receipts and all that stuff. I mean, there's a million cliches you can say. For me, there's still things I really want to check in boxes at Bradley and get things accomplished. And I'm more motivated probably now than I've been, even 5-6 years ago when I was trying to build Bradley up. My staff and I are very motivated right now. And I think for me, I just like going back and seeing where I failed, honestly. The failures is what drives me, not the wins. The success doesn't drive me at all. It's the failures. And so I like to look at what I did wrong, where can we get better, and if that gives you a little more chip on the shoulder, that's great. And I know it does with a lot of these guys too. They're very motivated guys because all three of them have really improved since last year, so I'm excited for people to see that. But everybody's got to find a way to find that little, whether they're chip on the shoulder or that little extra motivation to work that a little one more, a little extra, and I do that quite often.
You say boxes you want to check. You've done a lot here. You've made the tournament. Just what are some of those boxes that you still look at this program needs to do?
Well, I'll keep those boxes private between Dr. Reynolds and I. Good try, though. I like it, though. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think if you're not competitive, you can't have success in this business. And competition is what we do every day, and we have a competitive spirit every day and an intensity to us every day, and we try to just keep that going one day at a time.
Brian, Kevin Lehman, MVC TV.
What's up, Kev?
8 years in the league. Last year, first time a 20-game league schedule. What are the challenges of that? What'd you learn, and any changes this season based on what you learned last year?
Challenge is just you added some really good programs and good teams. First time playing at Murray State and at Belmont last year. Great venues, great atmospheres. I was fortunate, and I competed against UIC when I was the head coach at Green Bay previously, so I was familiar with that from being from Chicago too. So it just added, I thought, more competition, a little bit more travel here and there. I mean, I didn't think about it, to be honest, a lot, Kevin. I just knew that we were going to be challenged with our schedule, and we're going to be extremely challenged this year with our schedule. But I loved it. I thought it was exciting. It was great to have a Murray State and Belmont and UIC back on the schedule, and those two, like I said previously, being new on our schedule, and I thought our fans enjoyed it, and we're looking forward to this year.
Coach, with the changing kind of landscape in terms of the portal and different guys coming in, different guys leaving, what can you tell me about, specifically I want to talk about like internationally, kind of looking international. I know you have like a pretty big pipeline over in Europe and things like that in the past couple of years, Malvi, for instance, from Holland. What can you tell me about that and how that kind of impacts some of your roster? And I know that's going to impact this year as well.
Well, it kind of recruits itself a little bit. I try to explain to people it's not like we're out in Europe all month in July recruiting ever. We recruit the Midwest and Illinois hard. We're always looking for the right fits and trying to put a puzzle together. What's our needs and wants, and what kind of player do we need and specific skill set, and we try to go find that. And sometimes the international route is the right route. These young men over there are extremely high IQ players. They have a great feel for the game. I haven't had one international player without a great work ethic, not one. And this guy's in the gym every morning with these two, actually. These are three of my hardest workers right here. And now most coaches might say that today, but I'm actually telling the truth on that. These three are my hardest workers. And the international guys, it's a world game now, basketball. It's worldwide. And you can see it with our FIBA team this summer. I mean, if you don't play a certain way and play well, you're going to get beat. And I think that speaks to where basketball has gone. And there's great players all over the place. So whatever's the right fit, whatever we can find, we'll go and look for. But what you said with the portal and the transfers, it all goes back to what Hickman said. And Duke, you have to be a connected team now with all these newcomers coming in. You got to find a way to connect off the floor, not basketball related. You have to find a way to connect on the floor and all get on the same page. And that's one of the biggest challenges for a coach now.
And then, follow up the Leons. You came from Holland. I know Bradley went over there, and you actually played against them, right, in Europe. And
yeah.
So what can you tell me about what kind of attracted you to Bradley? I know you were a junior college originally, but what can you tell me about what brought you to this Bradley program and playing here?
So when I went to junior college, it was during the COVID year, so visits and stuff weren't really allowed, and just already like being familiar with the Bradley program, having them come to the Netherlands when I was younger, just made it feel like, yeah, just being familiar with it and something I already seen and knew.
So before we take the next question, there are 5 minutes left in this session. We'll start here, and then we'll go here, please.
Brian, how has your early season preparation changed now that you have conference games in November? I know it's happened the last couple of years, but now there's 2 instead of maybe 1, and instead of being able to work out the kinks all the way into January.
Yeah, and like I said, we have 6 newcomers, so we did more team workouts this summer than I probably usually do. We're a big player development staff and helping individuals improve. So we split probably small groups with more team workouts just to try to blend the group together as much as possible. And so I think that's something you got to probably look at as a coach and a staff to play better basketball early November and early December. And so hopefully that will help us, knowing that we've been through some team workouts, we understand some drill work, we understand some concepts. In the summertime, I implement probably a little bit more offense than I have in the past, in my previous first 3-4 years at Bradley. And I think that might help you play a little bit better in November. And I thought last year we were playing really well going into November. I thought, and then we just suffered some bad injuries in that month, and that kind of set us back a little bit. But if we can stay healthy, you know, and we keep making progress each week, you know, that's what you want as a coach. And hopefully by November 6th at UAB, we could be ready to compete at a high level.
Connor, Brian was talking about motivation earlier. I can't even believe I'm going to cite him, but Bradley superfan Tony Seghetti on Twitter today.
Tony's loving he's getting a shout out right now.
Tony
love it.
tweeted, there are 17 people on the preseason teams, and Connor Hickman is not one of them. What is going on here? Do you take motivation from that?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a good thing to use. And shout out Tony, that's my guy. He's probably one of my biggest supporters, so appreciate him. But, you know, last year I thought, you know, I showed some flashes, I had some good games, but I don't think I was overall consistent enough to really, you know, have proven anything yet. So I think this is a big year for me as far as proving, you know, what I can do and just being a consistent guard for, you know, my teammates and, you know, showing what I can do.
It's a great question. I challenge everyone here. If there's a better on-ball defender and guard defender than Connor Hickman in the league, show me film. And it's not always about the stats. It's about great discipline and great defense. And Connor's a great two-way player. And he's a leader, too, and he does a lot for us. So, hey, I'm happy. Take receipts, Connor. Let's go. I'm ready. He's ready to roll now.
Brian, in terms of scheduling in the non-conference at this level for this league, what sort of challenges do you have in trying to put together the best schedule for Bradley and for the Missouri Valley?
Well, scheduling's always, there's a lot of challenges to it for every team. For us, you know, playing at Carver Arena in the Civic Center downtown, which we love, you know, there's certain dates we only have. And so that always presents maybe a challenge that some other schools may not have. But they work great with us, and we figure it out. But you're trying to play the top 3. I always try to play the top 3 teams in conferences. So no matter what the league is, what level it is, do they have a chance to win their league? You want to schedule teams that you think are going to compete at a high level, maybe get some big non-conference wins, something to keep your net high going into Valley play. And so we did our best this year to play teams. And as we know, the super conferences are forming bigger than ever. It's getting it always has been very difficult since I've been a head coach. But, I mean, this year it's been they wouldn't even return calls. You couldn't even get a conversation going. So to play like a UAB for us, a Utah State, to play in Akron, a Duquesne, who I think is going to be at the top of the Atlantic 10 preseason. So we tried to play teams that we thought were going to be at the top level of their leagues, or at least have a winning program. And I think that's how we challenge ourselves before we get in the Valley, and hopefully we can stay healthy and you try to win games, because ultimately you got to win games. Bottom line, you got to win the games. You got to take care of business at home. You got to go steal some games on the road, and then try to play some big schools in the neutral sites at the exempt tournaments. And you know, we'll be doing that in California this year. So it's difficult. You try to put your team in position, if you win those games, to have a really good net, and that's what we tried this year.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. That concludes the interview session for the Bradley Braves.
Thank you.
Enjoy your day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Tony.